Hi there. Hello. Thanks for joining us.
Hi,
Uh,
folks.
as usual, I would like to ask you if you can see us and hear us well. So, use the chat, type in the chat if you can hear us and see us, please. Okay, cool. Thanks so much, Ayas. Brilliant. Okay, you can also type in where you are joining us from today. We are actually in two different cities with Michał today. I'm in Gdynia. Michał is in Gdańsk at this moment. So I'm wondering, okay, so we have Anita from Lancaster. Okay, cool. Texas, Toronto. Nice. Okie dokie.
Paris, France, Rome, Italy.
Yeah,
Oh.
Estonia. Brilliant. Singapore. Nice.
By the
All
way, the
right.
chat isn't moderated today, so we might not be able to keep up with your answers, with your questions as well.
Yeah.
But we'll be monitoring them throughout the presentation.
Definitely, but this is like we decided that it's great for engagement, and this meeting today is for all of us. So it would be great if you could just type in any kind of question you have. So whatever pops in your mind during the presentation, just feel free to ask a question. If we can, we will do that immediately. If not, we still prepared a short, some time for a short Q&A session at the end of today's webinar. So let me just give you a little bit, like a little overview of the plan for today. So first of all, today's session will be about an hour long. So this is, a kind of like a standard. So I think that we are going to, our presentation should take more or less 45 minutes, and then we think that there's going to be some 15 minutes left for a Q&A, but it all depends on your questions, on whatever, we'll see how it goes. Of course, there will be a recording available, so we are planning to send you an email with the recording tomorrow. Yeah, okay. So let's dig in. So we just we will actually we have certain areas to talk about. So actually, Michał is going to start, and I'm going to take over, and we'll swap. So actually, let's go.
Sure. Thanks, Eric. Hello, everyone. And by the way, I've got two screens going on. I'll be looking at both of them because I'll be doing some screen sharing later on. But so don't feel ignored that I'm not looking exactly into the chat pod or into the camera. But just to give you a bit of a backstory why we decided to do this webinar and why we wanted to talk about data-based email marketing. Every year we are doing this email marketing benchmarks study that we've been doing for the last 3 or 4 years. Not sure if you've seen it just yet, but Eric has just added the link to it at the top of the webinar view. You can click on it if you haven't actually seen it before. So for those of you that don't know this report just yet, this is a study that we're running every single year, and we're analyzing our customers' email campaigns, what they're doing, what tactics that they're using, and what the average engagement rates they get. So the open rates, the click-through rates, the unsubscribe rates, etc. And it has grown massively over the years. We've been adding new sections, new questions, because we always want to learn more about the things that are working or not working, whether it makes sense to, use personalization, whether it makes sense to look at the times when you send out emails, whether it makes sense to add images to your emails, things like that. So we started off with a few charts, but it grew. And sometimes it may feel overwhelming, but don't worry about it, because it does feel overwhelming to us as well when we're analyzing the data. But if you haven't seen the report or skimmed through it, just make sure to check it, because after each section, after each chart, there is a comment section coming from our team where we shine some more light on the findings and how you can perhaps understand the data if it doesn't tell you a story right away. So this is the reason why we decided to talk about database email marketing, because we've just released our report, and it looks at a whole year of data, over 5 billion emails sent by our customers, and some really interesting facts we've seen throughout this period. So one of the first things, one of the first insights that we found was regarding email engagement. And email engagement can be understood in many, many ways. But naturally, it's one of the most important things that you want to pay attention to, how engaged your email subscribers are. And there are several ways to measure email engagement. The main metrics that marketers use are the open rates, click-through rates, click-to-open rate, unsubscribe rate, and spam complaint rate. We also sometimes look at the bounce rate, but we haven't actually included in this particular report. I know in our communication we said that we're going to be talking about what makes a good open rate, or what is a good email open rate or click-through rate. And what the numbers that you're seeing right now are the average open rate and click-through rate. My question to you is whether these average numbers are higher than yours, or are they perhaps lower than yours? Because I want to move on to another point that is very important in terms of the average engagement rates and how we're measuring them. Just use the chat pod at the bottom and answer this quick question. How do you feel about these numbers? Are they good or bad when compared to your average metrics? What is the average open rate? In your case. And by the way, the average open rate, so the average number of folks that open your emails compared to the number of that you're sending. So the averages are higher than yours, right? Okay, I can see. Thank you, Rebecca. Thank you, Herman. Thank you, Rick. The rates are usually much higher than my company typically sees in our industry, and that is a perfect summary to what I'm trying to move on to. Thank you, Anita. Ours are pretty average, like these numbers. Higher, we get 40% in the legal industry. This is perfect. So, folks, as you can see, even in the chat, we see many different answers. Some of them are higher, some of them are lower, and this is what I wanted to move on to. So, the averages don't mention anything like the industries, the locations, or what type of audience you have, B2B or B2C, or what type of campaigns are you running. So these are the average global results. But when you look at different industries, we also included those in our email marketing benchmarks report. But when you look at the average aggregate numbers, they don't tell you everything that there is that you should be knowing. Because honestly, when it comes to open rates, our welcome emails get much higher open rates. But when it comes to our promotional emails that we send to entire email lists, they tend to get even lower than the average numbers that you're seeing here. So this is one of the things that you should be paying attention to always measure your results, compare your results when looking at others in your industry or others in your location. And why would you bother about the location? So in our communication, we also alluded to the fact that GDPR came into force some time ago, I think a couple of years ago now. So when the GDPR came into force, we saw that the average open rates roughly remained pretty much the same, and was interesting. Maybe they slightly went down, but the click-through rates were quite significant. Well, not significantly, but just a bit higher. But that was the average. But when we look at specific locations like Germany or Belgium, for example, we saw that individual markets, individual locations had much better results. And this is related to naturally how the legal situation is, what the legal situation is in a given place. The legal requirements in Germany, for example, are much higher, much more strict than in the US. So when comparing your results, pay attention to where your competitors are, to what industries you're looking at, because there are many factors that play a role in this particular equation. So I've got a quick poll for you that I want to share just now. Let me see. Okay, So we're going to be now looking at results of two industries: nonprofits and internet marketers. And just tell me right away, which ones do you think have better engagement rates? And by engagement rates, I mean open rates and click rates specifically. I'm going to give you a quick moment. You can use the survey or you can use the chat, but it probably is easier to have the results on the survey. so I can see that we've got 33 answers so far. I'm going to give you a bit more time to answer this question. It's not a trick. It's not a difficult question. The answer is not both. The difference is quite significant, Luca, which is pretty interesting. But I will also ask you in a moment for your assumptions. Why do you think the results are much bigger than in one industry than the other? Okay, it seems that we've got 40-ish% of the answers given. So I'm going to end the voting right now, and I'm going to share the results with you. You should be seeing them right in front of you on the screen. So it seems that slightly more folks think that internet marketing has higher results than nonprofits. And it's a good guess, but it's a wrong guess actually this time. I know internet marketers might seem like the more knowledgeable when it comes to email marketing or communicating with their audiences, but it's actually interesting to see that the results were much higher for nonprofits. And I want to ask you now through the chat, why do you think that is? Why do you think nonprofits had higher results than internet marketers? Because I have some assumptions going on. I'm going to be sharing them as you answer within the chat as well. So one of the main assumptions that I would have when it comes to nonprofits is that, first of all, they tend to have smaller audiences. Their email lists are probably less, less dense. Fewer people sign up to nonprofits, and if they do, they have a good reason for it. And Lauren, yes, emotion attached to the nonprofits, absolutely. So when you're signing up for a nonprofit email list subscription, you're signing up for a particular cause that is actually emotionally related to what you do, what you believe in. Younger social demographic range, that could be also, though that would be interesting to see whether internet marketers are, communicate to a different audience. So the age could play a role here, definitely. But empathy with nonprofits, businesses are more relevant audience to sign up. Absolutely, I think they have smaller lists, more engaged folks that believe in this particular cause, and they also might understand their audience better because they know exactly what causes they're promoting. So see, most folks here now are sharing tips or assumptions that clearly show that nonprofits should have resulted in higher engagement. Doesn't cost anything, no scarcity. Okay, that is actually also true because, well, unless they're fundraising, they're asking for donations, then folks also need to provide some money, click on that button, buy now or donate now, lend now, whatever. The same case as with internet marketing. But just to give you an example from my inbox, they and nonprofits, and this is just one example, right? Anecdotally, so this is just one example, but they do send quite a few emails as well, quite often. So the email frequency is quite high, similar to what internet marketers usually have. They use similar tricks, so they do personalization. They call to action or ask for action, just sign up now, lend money now, or join this cause. But they have good reasons, and if you have a cause that your audience is actually believing in, they trust you, they will be opening up those emails. They will be responding to your emails. John, you're asking why the comparison between nonprofits or internet marketers. This is I'm comparing these two industries just to give you an example, because these had some extreme numbers when it comes to open rates or the click-through rates. Because I thought the discussion was going to be good, and I saw that many people didn't know that internet marketers are going to have lower results. This is because we need to think twice before we judge which marketer has actually a better audience, or just to understand better the environment and where they're communicating. So just to give you an example here, for example, for International Women's Day, that was just this week, Kiva was sending out so many emails every single day, sometimes more than once per day. And all these emails were engaging, and I opened all of them and actually converted at some point. And this is because they understand their audience as well, and they can use many tactics within the communication. They can use stories of the folks that, for example, here that have collected money, or they can have famous people to vouch for their services. They can share the stories of those who participated. They can also use automation to actually send real-time emails asking you to donate or to lend money to a cause that is soon going to finish off. So this is interesting to see that nonprofits who many of you thought are not going to have that high results actually had much higher results than internet marketers. And what's also interesting, that they had slightly higher use of double opt-in, of confirmed opt-in. So it also might mean that their audience is actually a better match. They only have a more targeted subscribers on their list. So this is also something interesting to pay attention to when evaluating your given situation, your email campaigns. And now I'd like to actually show you something within our app. So just give me a moment. I'm going to share my screen, and also just going to ask you to confirm in a moment that you can actually see my screen. It should be working right now, but I would really appreciate it if you could confirm in the chat pod below that you can see. Okay, I got thumbs up, so that means it is working. It's good, because I had to update my Google Chrome just today, just to make sure that everything's working. So for those of you that are using GetResponse, just wanted to give you a heads up that we're launching the new email marketing statistics, the new reports dashboard that is gonna actually make it easier for you to understand your email metrics, how your email campaigns are performing. So this is the view from actually our email send out that we sent just, I think, last month regarding the email marketing benchmarks report. So you can see right off the bat the number of emails that you sent, what the delivery rate was, along with the open rates. And as you can see, for each metric, you've got the tooltip that tells you what these metrics are, how you should be understanding them. And you can see the email campaign that we sent, what it looks like, so you can better understand what is working, what's not. And then when you click on each section, you'll see exactly which elements got clicked, which elements got opened. You can actually send out your email campaigns from this point on as well. You can dive into each section, the bounces, the unsubscribes. Don't want to go into too deep for those, but just to give you a heads up, if you haven't still switched it on in your GetResponse account, it's coming soon, because we've launched it just I think 2 or 3 days ago for some of our customers. What's more to come, what's going to be interesting is that we're going to be adding click maps here as well. So you're going to be able to see within your email which areas people are clicking in. So this is going to be interesting, in my opinion, because you're going to be able to see where you should be placing your CTAs. And what's one interesting thing is also that on the main dashboard, I don't want to click here just to not show all our statistics, but on the main dashboard, you have also the export options that produce you beautiful PDF reports, XLS, and CSV reports that you can share with your manager. Yes, you can export the metrics, Ricardo. So just after clicking that, you should be able to see it. You'll be able to see, and you'll be also able to export your data for given time periods. So this can be useful if you're producing presentations for your managers or just for the rest of your team to share the insights with them. So based on the engagement topic that we just talked about, I want to propose that when you're going to be sending out your next campaigns, that you do a test to increase the engagement of your email subscribers. And the way to do it, one way to do it, is to identify your most engaged email subscribers, run a subject line A/B test. For example, a question versus a statement. For example, how good is your email open rate, or what are good email engagement rates versus our new email marketing benchmarks report is here, and apply the winning variant to the rest of your audience. And for those of you that actually don't know how to find the most engaged subscribers, let me just get back to the screen sharing option. So once again, you should be able to see my screen. If you're not a GetResponse user just yet, so you might not know this feature, but when you go to advanced search in the lists report, you have this option: add condition, contact details, and engagement score is equal to or higher, greater than or less than, for example, equal to highly engaged. And this should give me all these subscribers with this in this specific list or in this specific account, all these subscribers that are most engaged. And I can save that segment and test and some campaign to them. For example, let's say A/B test 1 just for today. So once I've got that, I can go to the email marketing section and do A/B tests. And for example, set up the A/B test for the subject line that we're talking about. So today, for first test, we've got 2 subject lines. How good are your email engagement rates? Our new email marketing benchmarks report. Okay, so I've got 2 variants. Don't need to create an additional one. This I could be sending to just that specific segment. So why I chose the most engaged folks, because these guys, these folks open most of our emails, respond to our emails. So if this subject line is going to work for them, it's probably going to work for all the rest of our audience. So let's say this is the top 10% of our audience. We should send to them, measure the results, for example, for 4 hours, and then send the rest of our audience the winning variant. It's a simple test, but it can help you lift your engagement rates in an easy and quick way. So this is a test that I proposed to you at the beginning, and just passing on the microphone now to Irek to talk about the second insight that we've got.
I'm excited about that, and for showing this idea for the test. So now I would like to actually talk with you about landing page conversion, because when we think about email marketing and data-based email marketing, we definitely need to pay attention to list building. So here I'm thinking about landing pages, and we also have some cool data about landing page conversion. But I would like to actually run a short survey right now, because I'm curious if you can actually guess. Okay, let me just find the one. So boom, here it is. So this is a short survey, and the question is, what's the average landing page conversion rate at this moment? And we have 3 options now: 3.62, 4.62, 5.62. So I'm going to wait about a minute for you to decide. Okay, so far I can see that majority of people are choosing the first option. And I'm really curious, what is your conversion rate usually? So actually, if you have a landing page with a web form on, and if you use it to build your list, what kind of conversion rate do you expect, or actually what kind of conversion rate do you usually notice? Okay, cool, Terry. That's good that you're new at the, so it's going to be a lot of knowledge for you today. That's fantastic. I'm so glad that you joined us. And actually, thanks guys for being engaged and actually asking so many cool questions in the chat. That's brilliant. Okay, it's tied with Google Ads. Sure, yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so we have like a person expecting conversion of around 5%. Ruth says that she doesn't know how to use a landing page yet. I will show you that in a moment. So I'm so happy that you joined us today, because you will see in a moment actually not only how to create a landing page, but also how to create 2 variants of landing pages. So you will be able to test which one performs best. Okay, cool. So I can see that 41% of people managed to answer the question. So let's just 3, 2, 1. Okay, so let's see. Actually, congratulations, because you're right. Let me share results with you. Okay, so definitely majority of you actually said that it's 3.62, and this happens to be correct answer. So here it goes. We've seen actually a drop. So actually those landing page conversion rate dropped from 5.86 to 3.62, but still, this time we had like bigger database, and still you need to remember that this is the average. So obviously it's not going to be 100% accurate for like every industry. If you would like to be more specific about that, I highly recommend visiting our email marketing benchmarks report, because you will see actually how those landing pages convert in particular industries. But yeah, let's just maybe talk for a moment about the kind of factors that influence conversion. So definitely this is about the offer, right? So actually, if it's valuable or not really. So actually, you need to pay attention to your offer. That's for sure. Definitely, if you invite people to join your email marketing program, so actually, just make sure that you use this landing page to inform about, the benefits of joining your newsletter. Is it going to be just, I don't know, some product-related information, but maybe you also have some cool educational content. So, just make sure that you create valuable content first, and then you inform people about that. So this is very important, because I've seen great companies that create like amazing email marketing, but then they have very simple landing pages and there is no actually content there. So actually they don't really, you need to inform people up front what they can expect, right? So definitely use this landing page to inform people about what they can expect during the, like, what kind of emails you'll be sending. Of course, it's about the visuals and copy. Yeah, not only copy, but also it needs to look good, and definitely it needs to be clear for a user. Actually, okay. So what is this landing page about? Okay, this is about the newsletter. So here is the form, and then so you need to make sure that it's easy for people to join. Of course, it's about the speed with which your landing page loads. And make sure that you also have several landing pages in case you have different segment and different target audience. So if you run a business for let's say different segments of customers, just use several landing pages and try out different ways to approach them. Okay. So here, this is something cool, like a fresh find from our report, and it says that basically the less form fields you have on a landing page, the higher the conversion, and it really makes sense, right? So as you can see, for the average for like 2 fields is 3.07. When you actually increase the number and you have 3 form fields in your form, it's going to be actually 50% of that, or actually even less. And then the more the form the fields, the actually the lowest the conversion. But I also wanted to share with you a few cool examples, because definitely it also depends on the kind of like environment. So actually, whether you operate in B2C or B2B, it makes a difference, that's for sure. So here, this is an example, like there is a page with a very short web form. You have only 1 form field, right? This is from Fellow, and then super simple, but of course you can test it out, because you don't need to be worried that, okay, the only piece of information you get from such a form is the email address. But no worries, because then later on you can use progressive profiling, and I can show you a cool example in a moment how to do that. So no worries, you can start small. You can start by asking only for like a name and email address, but then you can actually ask people for more information, like during the your email marketing series. So Here another example from the School of Life. So here you have a landing page with 3 web forms. As you can see, it's slightly longer. You have clear copy, and then you have this 10% off, this discount as a form of incentive. So here, make sure that if you have longer form with more form fields, you can also use certain incentives to still just make sure that people will subscribe. But here I would definitely recommend just saying something more about your email marketing program, because I'm pretty sure that if you have good and valuable content, right, if you have if you share information that your audience finds useful and relevant, I'm pretty sure that this will actually increase your conversion dramatically. Okay, one more example. So this is from this B2B environment, and here this is from Forrester. So this is like a huge B2B company here. So as you can see, this form is really, really, really long, but still it serves a purpose, because from a business perspective, you want to have it's not for everyone. It's only for people who really have this certain business need, yeah, and their target audience is very specific. So this is the long form, and actually it's a good idea still to ask, to ask a lot of questions before somebody joins. So it really makes sense. But here I mentioned something called progressive profiling, and I wanted to show you a cool example from Rusel. This is a company producing some, this is like cosmetics for men, and there was a situation when they were running email marketing, but it was actually for everyone. So actually they were sending one email to the whole list. But at certain point, and it was I think about a month ago, they decided to segment their list. So they send an email with 3 different call to actions, as you can see. And here you, as a contact, as a subscriber, you can actually inform them if you are a wholesaler, distributor, or a consumer. And this actually is great, because then later on they can segment the list and send you more relevant content. After that, another idea for collecting more information about your audience and about people on your list is actually running a survey. So here, if you use GetResponse, you can also use surveys to actually ask more questions. So as you can see, this is a very, very simple email, just with a clear call to action: take survey, and then receive 30% off. So actually for consumers, I guess that this offer makes sense. And this is what it looks like. So actually, just this email drives you to the survey, and then you start and you answer several questions, and after that you receive your 30% off code. So this is cool. And now some ideas for you to test. So definitely I would advise you, first of all, creating a landing page. So I will show you in a moment how to do that. And then create 2 variants, and then change the number of form fields in one of them. And you will see actually, which one performs better. So in order to, let me share my screen with, okay. So here, if I could ask you, how to stop your, thank you so much. And now I will be able to share my screen. Just a moment. In a few seconds, you should be able to see my screen. Yep. Still thinking. Okay, I'm gonna actually stop the app and run it once more. So just. Okay, cool. So then I'm choosing full screen, and in a moment you should be able to see my, if you could just tell me if you can see my screen or not, I would appreciate that. Yeah, okay, cool, thank you. So as you can see, I'm choosing landing pages. And now I'm going to create a landing page. As you know, in GetResponse, you have quite a few templates to choose from, so you don't need to start from scratch. And this is exactly what I'm going to do, because for our, okay, so let's just like test landing page, next step. Okay, and as you can see, it takes me directly to the template, and here this is the element that we can test. So here, as you can see, you have this sign up form, but you would like to run A/B tests, right? So what you can do, you can actually choose this tab here with this plus sign, and then once you've created your like your landing page, you can just click it here, and it automatically duplicates your landing page. And as you can see, you have variant B, so you are ready to go. And now here you can actually change the form. You can add some more form fields here, so later on you will be able to compare these two, right? So you will have version A, variant A, with, let's say, 2 forms, but then you can compare it against this variant B with 3 forms. So this is something I wanted to show you. Okay, cool. Sharing. Alrighty. So thanks a lot, and Michał, over to you.
I can see some questions happening in the chat. Yeah, I think Eric will be able to answer your questions because they're happening too fast, so I can't follow. But when it comes to personalization, it does pay off. But at the same time, it seems that not many folks are using it. So my question to you is, once again, we've got a survey. Do you actually use personalization in your email campaigns? And if yes, do you do it just for the subject lines, or for both the email body and subject lines, or you don't personalize at all? I'm going to quickly run this survey just to learn a bit more about this. And also, for those of you that don't use personalization, I would be curious to know why you're not using it. I've got some assumptions based on my own experience when running email campaigns as well, sending our blog updates. But curious why not everyone's using personalization. We only use it in the email body. No thought about it before. Okay. In B2C, it's fairly common to have someone's first name, someone's product that they've purchased or looked at or left in the shopping cart. So how do you personalize? Okay, so we will briefly look into that also, but just wanted to collect some more answers. Okay, subject line is interesting. Okay, never thought about it. Okay, I can end the voting now and just share the results with you. So it seems that that the majority is using subject lines here. Majority of those that have answered, and both in the email body and the subject line. This is great. This is something that we definitely recommend, especially when it makes sense, when it's not that difficult to run. For those of you that didn't use any personalization, we're going to share it in a moment how you can do it. So let me stop sharing the results and get back to the presentation. So when it comes to personalization, we've seen that both for the subject lines and the email body, the personalization can improve your results, both in terms of opens and clicks. Naturally, the subject line is the one that affects your open rate, and the personalization in email body mainly affects the click-through rate. So you would be thinking, okay, that the results should be massively different between personalized emails and not personalized emails. Unfortunately, the numbers aren't that significantly different, though even that 0.15 percentage point difference for the personalized email bodies, it translates to roughly about 6% lift between one option to the other. So it still makes sense to to personalize your campaigns, to test that at least, especially if you have large email lists and you have many people where that 6% could actually make a massive impact on your bottom line. And one reason why folks aren't using personalization, in my opinion, is that it tends to be quite difficult to implement. And this is an example of one email campaign that I received, and this is something that probably many of you are using as well. You provide the first name of your subscriber within the email copy, and that's about it. And the easiest way to implement that is to use a merge word or like a dynamic content tag within the email body, which sometimes is just a single word, or sometimes it's a longer piece of code like you can see on the right on the screen, which roughly translates to this is the way the logic in dynamic content works. If this subscriber first name is defined, so we have someone's first name, then we should say hi or hey, and then this piece of code turns someone's name to only the first name. So in case someone types in too many words, or they have 3 names, it only looks at the first name, and it makes sure that the first letter is capitalized and the rest one isn't. And then if we don't have someone's first name, then just say hey. And as you can see, this looks pretty difficult even for just a simple task like just saying hey ni hao or hey. Most folks don't do it this way. They just provide hey first name, and they don't care about the capitalization or checking if if someone has 2 or 3 names or whatever. But it tends to be difficult, and even though the results can be amazing, and these are just 2 examples of campaigns that use personalization to deliver great content. On the left, you can see an email from Zillow that not only contains information about a specific house that you're looking at, that you're interested in, or that you sold, but it also looks at the just listed, so gives you real-time information about houses within the area that you're interested in, and then you have information about houses that were sold nearby. So you can see just how difficult the coding here would have to be to actually use that dynamic content. And on the right, you can see a typical cart abandonment email sent by American Giant that shows the product that you left in the shopping cart. And luckily, the right example is not as difficult. So because you can use actually GetResponse or any other tool that you're using, you can just plug it in with your e-commerce platform and sync it so that in case someone leaves a shopping cart and leaves a product in that, you will have that information transferred to GetResponse. I highly advise that you do personalize your email campaigns, that you do try to run personalization. So one idea that we could be testing right now is, for example, to personalize the subject lines by using someone's either first name or, for example, city. This is a great example for folks that work in the travel industry. For example, having a subject line looking for spots near city or want to get out of city could improve your open rates just because it just uses the information that you have about your subscriber. Or, for example, in our case, if someone visits our resource center and looks at a specific ebook, and we see that they visited this page but didn't schedule a demo, we could send them an email that automatically triggers and says, hey, want to learn more about, and then, for example, dedicated IPs or email marketing or anything else, we could do that. So I highly advise that you do try it. And just to give you a quickly show you how you would personalize your email campaigns, I'm just going to go back to the account and show you the screen. So give me a moment. Okay, you should be seeing my dashboard right away. If not, you can catch up in a moment. So all you have to do is just click on the Create Newsletter, and then within the creation of your email, whether you do it in the A/B test section or here, you can type in your message. So, for example, want to get out of, and then you can click here on this person's shape and you can pick the custom fields that you've stored in your account. So for example, if you have state, that is one of the custom fields that we've got state written down here, want to get out of state, and if you do that, every time someone has a custom field with the data state, then it will translate that to a particular word. You can do that with any single information, any additional keyword that you have. And honestly, we've seen folks use this kind of personalization on most robust things like loyalty card numbers and things only dedicated to subscribers that hold a particular loyalty card number. So you can start personalizing in just that simple way, and you can take it from there and just make it more robust, more difficult. The sky is the limit when it comes to creativity. Just to give you some inspiration, we do, for example, run our employee onboarding program using GetResponse, and we have a test that is automatically collecting the scores of the folks that fill out those tests, and then sends out an email with the score results, and also highlights the questions that were answered wrongly or the questions that were answered properly. And it's a massive workflow, but it works great for the new hires that we have at GetResponse. So okay, back to Eric onto the fourth insight.
Once again, because I would like to talk with you about webinar invitation and reminders, because this is very, very interesting find. But I would like to also talk with you about content that might be, like visited more than once, for example. So, okay, let me run the survey first. I'm gonna close this one. Okay, cool. So here it is. The question is, which webinar reminder has the highest engagement rate? Because as you could see, we are sending a few email like webinar reminders through the campaign throughout before the actual webinar. And we have 5 options here. And the first one is the sent 1 day before the webinar, 1 hour before the webinar, 30 minutes before the webinar, 5 minutes before the webinar, or at start time. Of course, you have many options, and if you are planning your promo campaign for the webinar, you can decide actually how many emails you are going to send. Yeah, exactly. So Richard said depends when I'm checking my email, that's for sure. But I'm just wondering, what is your take on that? What do you think? Which webinar reminder has the highest engagement rate? So let us maybe wait a couple more seconds for more of us to answer. 30% of you have already answered, which is great. Thank you so much for being, highly engaged. I really enjoy those webinars, with you, that we can actually do something together. It's not only us with Michał speaking, but it's actually all of us, enjoying this webinar. Okay, we have 38%. So maybe let's just wait 5 more seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, almost 40% of you answered. Okay, I'm just sharing the results now. Cool. And you said most of you, but definitely majority of us, 45% of people voted, and 30 people voted for the right answer. It is the 1 hour before the webinar reminder. So definitely. And let me go back to my presentation because I would like to show you this segment from the report actually. And boom, here it is. So as you can see, this webinar invitation, basically this is 26% open rate and click-through rate, right? If we just think about the average. But then if we dig in, and this is something cool, because as you can see, we have great numbers. We have 108%, we have 104%. And this reminder sent 1 hour before the webinar, it's 138%. And yeah, it's not a mistake. Actually, here we were not looking at the unique clicks, but we were basically thinking like looking at the clicks overall, because sometimes you have those, valuable emails that are relevant for a longer period of time, and then people tend to go back to them. So this is an insight that I really wanted to share with you, because very often, if you just pay attention to unique clicks, when you just focus on that, of course it gives you an idea about the engagement, but you actually observe your audience, right? And you see who clicked, who didn't. So this is great. But if you also like pay attention to the clicks, not unique clicks, but clicks, so then you can actually see if people go back to your emails more than once, and maybe you have certain campaigns, or you would like to actually use certain campaigns in such a way that people would go back. And I think that webinars are a really cool example here. So why do people open emails multiple times? If they find the content valuable, that's for sure, right? And if the email content remains relevant for a longer time, and if they can make use of it multiple times, so easy. So I think that if you sometimes, when you think about webinars are great example for such a campaigns. And I would like to share with you one case study with Ravenel, one of our customers, and this is absolutely phenomenal, because they have used webinars in order to actually train people. And this is, a case study during COVID pandemic. So actually, they were actually running a really cool program. They were running workshops, and they were basically teaching mechanics, how to change oil with a certain device. But because of COVID, it was not possible actually to meet in person and run workshops, in a traditional manner. So this is what they actually transferred the whole process online. So they started using webinars, and they had huge success. Because I would like to read this quote, because it's amazing. Marcin, who is the sales director at Ravenel, he says, till now we were able to train 60 to 100 people a month, and our contact list grew by about 1,400 contacts a year. With webinars, we have built a similar contact list in 3 weeks, and we've trained more people than in 2 years offline. So it's 3 weeks, but as you can see, it's massive. So let me share my screen with you. Okay, thank you. Now, just a second. Waiting for the app to connect. Just a moment. I don't know why, but actually it just takes slightly longer today. Okay, here we go. So I'm choosing full screen. So I think that you should be able to see that. So I'm actually, showing this case study here because I wanted to show you the whole process. Because first of all, they start with a newsletter informing about the workshop. Then actually this email invites you to fill a survey, because of course you need to just give details, and actually they need to make sure that they are targeting the right audience here. And then you have a landing page with the survey, so you can register for the webinar, for the workshop, using a landing page. And then they run a webinar, and this is cool because the webinar is live first, but then they also transfer, they use the recording and they create on-demand webinar. So as you can see, later on, actually, they can use those webinars, they can offer them on demand. So people can just, take part in this technical training whenever they feel, whenever they feel like. So then later on, of course, they send a thank you email with the recording as well. So I can imagine that these are, great emails that they can lay in your inbox, they can land in your inbox and wait for the proper moment. So, if you find time, then boom, you can sign up, you can watch the recordings, and you can take part in the training whenever it is convenient. So this is definitely great. And now let me go back because I also wanted to, because we talk about webinars, I also wanted to give you a cool idea for a test. And this test is actually with the use of our new feature called chats. And I wanted to actually, invite you to just run a cool test before the webinar. So you could, for example, include in your promotion, like webinar promo, an email with a landing page when there is a chat, like, available. And you could actually use, maybe, I don't know, you could use automation to filter first 50 registrants, as your most, like, I don't know, active, or the fastest, like, most engaged group, I don't know. You could also use this cool feature that Michał showed at the very beginning of a webinar, that you could actually create, or just you have this segment of highly engaged subscribers, or like people who are highly engaged, and then you could just send them an email with a link to a landing page with a chat window, so you could actually talk with people about the webinar before you run it. So this is cool because you could ask a lot of questions. You could actually figure out the content of a webinar together with your audience. So let me just briefly show you how to do that. So I'm sharing my screen once again. I'm going back to my GetResponse account. So as you can see, okay, let me go back maybe to the dashboard. So here, this is this option. Yeah, this option is here. It's chats. But actually, what you can do is, like, you create a landing page, and we have created one here. It's here. It's called like test landing page. And let me just show you how to. Okay, you choose edit settings. And here in the settings, you have this chat window, and all you need to do is just, like, boom, enable GetResponse chats, and then publish. And let me show you what it looks like. So we can view this landing page online right now. So as you can see, this is the template that they have chosen before, when we were talking about creating variants, like variant A and B. But here, as you can see, this is the published, this landing page is live, and you have this got questions box here, and boom, this is the chat. So you could also, like, try it on your own, and you could actually include it in the promo before the webinar. Who knows? I think, I'm definitely going to try it. It's a good idea to actually talk with people, before the webinar, and then maybe just, get some more insights, and then create exactly the kind of content that, is most valuable and relevant to your audience. Okay, so thanks a lot. And I'm going back to the presentation, and I think that we have, oh man, it's we don't have a lot of time, but I think that we have time for, like, at least a question, or maybe two.
The slides. So as I answered, we'll be uploading them to the SlideShare account that I've shared in the chat pod. What else? We'll be sharing the recording with everyone that has registered, and we've got their email address. And in case that goes missing, go to the GetResponse resources section. We'll have all the information there. Okay. Let me see. Is it still recommended to use the perfect timing feature when sending out emails? I can take that one, Eric, if you want. Sure. So we've looked at the results, but haven't actually been publishing them in that particular benchmark report. I'm not sure why we didn't include it there, but sure. Time travel and perfect timing still have better open rates than regular newsletters. So yes, I would suggest using these. But at the same time, for example, for some of our campaigns, we don't use either of these features, or prefer to use time travel, because we want to make sure that a particular email gets sent out right away and doesn't wait till, let's say, 12 hours from now, when we see that this is a good spot for someone to receive an email. Sometimes we prefer to send out an email that is timely and that arrives at, for example, 8 a.m. in the morning on Friday. And this has worked for us pretty well too. So I would say, when you can, test those things. But the issue here is, for example, that you can't do an A/B test and perfect timing at the same time. So you have to do either or one or the other. Okay. Are there any other questions?
Yeah, there is one like from Mark. Can webinar be linked with Facebook Live? And yeah, it's like whenever if your Facebook account is integrated with GetResponse, you can actually run a webinar, and at the same time you could actually run Facebook Live. So cool. I guess that we're out of time. So actually we can address maybe more questions like after the webinar.
Yeah, just one quick authentication process of the domain. Within the landing page settings, you should have a link, a tooltip that leads you to how do I assign a domain to GetResponse. That's a quick one. So yeah, if you have any questions, please reply to our email when we're going to be sending out the email recording, or you can just hit reply on the email invite that you got beforehand. And I'd like to thank you all, along here with Eric, for joining us for today. We're going to be sharing the recording soon. And thanks for participating in this super engaging conversation that we had today.
Definitely. Thank you so much for joining us today. And, see you at the next GetResponse webinar.
Yeah, thank you. See ya.